10's Chief Meteorologist Jeff Hanowich is live today in White Sulphur Springs with more on what he's seeing out there and how the volunteers are making a difference. Jeff?
Yeah, guys, it was 1 week ago today that all the flooding rains began. What a difference a week makes, as right now we are seeing sunshine. It's calm here, but here in Greenbrier County, we saw anywhere between 6 and 12 inches of rain, extremely rare amounts in less than 12 hours. This was a 1 in a 1,000-year event according to the National Weather Service. And let's not forget that an EF1 tornado hit northern parts of Greenbrier County at Summit Lake Campground with winds of 107 miles per hour just 2 days before the flooding. The floods have destroyed thousands of homes and 23 people have died in West Virginia, 15 of them here in Greenbrier County. Folks from the American Red Cross have been here since the onset of the flooding a week ago, and today we visited their shelter in Ronceverte. This is where I met Marianne Kapp, a volunteer from Christiansburg. Here's
walking door to door in steel-toed boots and seeing the devastation firsthand is, as fresh as it was very dramatic. People were just coming out of their homes, pulling things out, standing in the streets, shaking their head and wondering what to do next. And so I just was assuring to people that resources are coming in. The local Red Cross chapter and churches are doing what they can, and things will, get better.
Now, Marianne was at a training seminar just a week ago last Thursday. And once that ended, she said to herself, I got to go to West Virginia. And she has been here off and on ever since. I want to give you some totals from the American Red Cross. More than 370 Red Cross volunteers are here supporting shelters, providing relief supplies and health services. Since the flooding began, the American Red Cross has provided close to 1,800 overnight stays in emergency shelters, and they have distributed more than 43,000 relief supplies. So teamwork at its very best going on here in Greenbrier County, West Virginia.
The situation in West Virginia continues to develop as storm survivors dig out their homes and look to start rebuilding their lives.
Yeah, it is a slow and emotionally and physically draining process. And WSLS 10's Chief Meteorologist Jeff Hanowich spoke to some flood victims today. In fact, he's right there amongst them tonight. So, Jeff, what are these folks telling you?
They're telling me about the pure devastation that they have seen here over the last week or so. As I said not more than 10-15 minutes ago, you see pictures, you see videos. Guys, it just doesn't do it justice until you can see the damage firsthand with your own eyes. But just like I said when I was in Appomattox a couple of days after that big tornado hit Evergreen, it's amazing to me how people come together during these times. Just like, and I'm pretty much just reiterating what Lindsay said when she was live in Callahan a couple of nights ago, it's amazing how communities come together. It's amazing to me how you have people from Kentucky, Ohio, West Virginia, all coming together for one sole purpose, and that is to help folks here in Greenbrier County. We're going to talk more about some of those folks coming up at 5:30.
So, Jeff, when I was up there the other day, they were talking about how Monday was really the first day where they were really tired. It'd been a couple days they'd been working throughout the weekend. Have folks said anything about being able to rest or just, kind of sit back and let somebody else help them, the volunteers, and just so they can just sit back and get a good night's sleep?
I think, Lindsay, as far as people being tired around here, yeah, I'm sure they're exhausted. A few people have told me that, but they said, would I rather be home in my own bed, or would I rather be here helping folks? And the answer is, to a soul, B. They'd rather be here helping people, making sure that their lives get put back together quickly. The teamwork, the camaraderie that is here in Greenbrier County in West Virginia, and also that you saw in Allegheny County, we'll be there tomorrow, by the way, is amazing to me. And you see that every time a disaster hits, people coming together and making sure the folks who are impacted by that disaster are taken care of. Guys.
A lot to be done to help these communities rebuild, and Storm Team 10 Chief Meteorologist Jeff Hanowich is in West Virginia tonight. He's been surveying the damage firsthand. He joins us from White Sulphur Springs. So Jeff, it's now been a week since it was raining so hard and those storms swept through the area. Are survivors in the early stages of recovery? Are some of them starting to turn the corner at all? Where does it all stand?
I would say somewhere in between. I would say depending on where you go, some places have made a good amount of recovery, others not so much. And it all depends on the amount of devastation that each location has seen. We're going to talk more about the devastation coming up at 6 o'clock along Route 60. Now, earlier today, we actually visited a feeding shelter at the First Baptist Church in Fairleigh. It is run by the Southern Baptist Convention. It was basically a mini campus for those so devastated by the recent floods. It had a shower and water purification center, a disaster relief laundry center, and food. Lots and lots of food to feed the hungry. I had the privilege to talk to Karen Smith, who traveled all the way from Kentucky to help those in need.
We fed about 13,000 so far at this site, but we have 2 other sites located in Elkview and Mount Nebo. And they are serving approximately the same thing, which is somewhere between 3,000 and 4,000 meals a day. This is truly an interstate coalition of Southern Baptists, because we're from Kentucky. We come in to work in conjunction with West Virginia. Virginia has come up to support them, and we have Ohio coming later this weekend.
Guys, I'm firmly convinced that Karen, along with every other volunteer up here, they are angels. I spent about 30 to 35 minutes with Karen, and guys, we were both in tears talking about everything that has happened in Greenbrier County, West Virginia here over the course of the last week or so. Back to you.
It has now been a week since the historic flash flooding in West Virginia.
While the water that drenched the state is gone, the recovery process is far from over.
Storm Team 10 Chief Meteorologist Jeff Hanowich joins us now. He's in White Sulphur Springs tonight. And Jeff, you've been traveling throughout the area all day. Why don't you give us an idea of some of the damage you've seen?
Yeah, guys, we were traveling along Route 60, which is probably the second busiest road through Greenbrier County. Obviously, you can't see a whole lot from Interstate 64. Yeah, there's some trees down. There are some people working on the side of the roads on 64, but the real story comes on Highway 60. We stopped many times because the roads were closed. We stopped many times because we just wanted to talk with people who saw so much devastation. I'm going to talk about a family whose house is destroyed by the flooding coming up tonight at 6. But when you're traveling along Highway 60, you're seeing homes with these beautiful flat screen TVs out waiting for the garbage folks to pick them up. These are 40, 50, 60-inch flat screen TVs that no longer work. And if you think about it, guys, flat screens are what, 6, 7, 8 feet high, mounted on a wall. That tells you just how high these floodwaters were. We saw couches that are soaked with water still and that are completely filthy dirty because of the fact that their homes were completely flooded.
So, Jeff, you had said earlier that you really can't get a feel for it with the video. And, of course, you saw a lot of this as you were traveling up there. Where are you right now? What are you seeing around you? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, right now we're actually in White Sulphur Springs. We're along a creek that flows into the Greenbrier River. I will tell you that we were traveling from Ronceverte through Lewisburg, eventually into Caldwell, and then into White Sulphur Springs. And Caldwell, the areas near North Caldwell, those were the areas that were hardest hit, including also White Sulphur Springs. We're not in an area that has seen a lot of devastation, but we did go through the Greenbrier course, the Greenbrier golf course, and got a little peek at the devastation on that course. And let me tell you, John, there's no wonder they had to cancel the Greenbrier Classic. I mean, it's a swampland, guys.
Chief Meteorologist Jeff Hanowich kicks off our team coverage. He joins us live from White Sulphur Springs. Jeff, of course, you were on air keeping our viewers updated as the floodwaters were rising this time last week. And tonight you're tracking the recovery. Fill us in.
That's exactly right, Lindsay. As we traveled from Ronceverte all the way to White Sulphur Springs on Highway 60, along some back roads as well, the devastation we saw became so apparent. At one point in time, 1 week ago, the water on Route 60, 8 to 10 feet high. I was taken aback by all the debris we saw and all the condemned homes. Along the way, we stopped to talk to Heather Smith in Caldwell, West Virginia. She lives along Howard Creek, which flows into the Greenbrier River. Here's what she had to say.
We were just having a normal day. The rain was hard, you know, and we've had it come up to the bank a lot, but it started rising rapidly. Like within an hour, hour and a half, it was all the way up to our driveway. And we literally were like 10 minutes ahead of the water. We really only had like literally 10 minutes before the water came down through this way and wiped everything. Roadway, it was down this way like 5 foot or so all down to the road. The only way we're keeping on going right now is family and the community and friends, and everybody's so supportive.
As we continue to chat, guys, after the interview, she informed me that her neighbor who lived across the street from her, the gentleman who lived there, had died. He lives behind a wife and 7 children. Reporting live here in Greenbrier County, West Virginia, I'm Storm Team 10 Chief Meteorologist Jeff Hanowich.
I want to check back in now with Storm Team 10 Chief Meteorologist Jeff Hanowitz. He's actually there in one of the hardest impacted areas, which is White Sulphur Springs. We see a little bit of the debris behind you, Jeff, but I know the other areas are much worse.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And, you know, we've made several stops in West Virginia today, and among them, as you know, was at a feeding station at the First Baptist Church in Fairley. That's just south of Lewisburg. Among the folks I met there, the secretary of the church. Her name is Jennifer Bennett. She's from Roncevert, and she let me read a poem she wrote, and it's absolutely beautiful. I'm going to read you an excerpt. We may be a little wounded, but broken we are not. It's our scars that leave reminders of the battle we have fought. Let us fight with victory as a mighty state and show this nation what it looks like to be great. So our hearts and hands will join in love and hope, and united we will stand through hardships together to cope. True West Virginians we proudly will be, because in West Virginia, mountaineers are always free. Reporting live here in Greenbrier County, West Virginia, I'm Storm Team 10 Chief Meteorologist Jeff Hanowich.